Hello, and welcome to the 2033 CJBL Tournament Selection Show. I am John Comey. I am flying solo today, just due to scheduling conflicts and timing. It's just the way it is. I do know that there is a preview show in the works that will cover way more in depth than even we normally cover with this show, which is again designed to reveal the brackets, which is what we will do. So this is going to be quick, and then I would be on the lookout for that preview show when it comes available. Without further ado, let's get right to the brackets. We're going to start, as always, with the CJBL, and we'll start in the East region. There we go. All right, our number one seed for the second year in a row, Marquette Golden Eagles, 29-6 out of the Big East. They're going to face Stony Brook, who won the American East at 23-8. They will face 8th seeded Arkansas, the Razorbacks, defending national champions, 24-10 out of the SEC. They will face 9th seeded Wake Forest, 20-15 out of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Other top half of this bracket has the 4th seed Indiana Hoosiers, 23-9 out of the Big Ten. They will face 13th seeded BYU, the Cougars, 22-10 out of the West Coast Conference. The other half of this quadrant, 5th seeded Utah. The Utes went 22-10 out of the Pac-12. They will face the winner of Baylor out of the Big 12, 21-10, and Charlotte, 26-8 out of Conference USA. And we go to the bottom half of the East, and we get 3rd seeded Dayton. The Flyers kind of just pencil them in for these spots. 3rd seeded out of the A10, 27-6. They're going to face Big Red Cornell, 24-8 champions of the Ivy League. The other half of this quadrant, Florida, the Gators, 6th seed. They went 23-8 out of the SEC. They will face Weber State, 30-5 champions of the Big Sky Conference. Finally, we see 2nd seeded Kansas State, 28-5 out of the Big 12. They will face Jacksonville, 25-7 out of the Atlantic Sun Conference. And the winner of that game will face 7th seeded Syracuse, the Orange, at large out of the ACC at 22-12, or Central Florida, 10th seed out of the AAC at 23-10. Let's now go to the South, where the number one seed is Michigan State. Sparty goes 32-3 out of the Big Ten. They will face Alabama A&M, 20-11 out of the SWAC Conference. Winner of that game will face either 8th seeded Northern Kentucky, went 27-6 in the Horizon League, or the 9th seeded Connecticut Huskies out of the Big East, finishing at 21-10. Moving on, 4th seeded UCLA, Pac-12 at large at 23-10. They will face Fairleigh Dickinson. The Northeast champions at 30-5 get the 13 seed here. They were in the JIT a year ago. Our 5-12 matchup, Louisiana Tech. I knew I'd get a typo. There's the lowercase t. 27-6 out of Conference USA. They will face the winner of either Louisville at 21-12 or St. Mary's at 21-11. Go to the back half of this quadrant, the bottom half. 3rd seeded Washington, the Huskies, went 25-8 out of the Pac-12. They will face Coppin State out of the MEAC, 27-6 on the season. Winner of that game faces either Michigan, 23-11 out of the Big Ten, or Coastal Carolina. They were a 1 seed in the JIT a year ago. They finished 30-5 out of the Sun Belt. Wrapping up the South, we get 2nd seeded North Carolina, the Tar Heels, 29-6 out of the Atlantic Coast Conference. They will face Gardner Webb, 26-7 out of the Big South. Winner of that game gets either Cincinnati, 25-9 out of the American, or Northwestern State, 26-9 out of the Southland Conference. We've got half of the CJBL bracket. Let's get right to the Midwest, where the number 1 seed is Virginia Commonwealth, 33-2 out of the A10. They will face East Tennessee State. Out of the Southern Conference, 21-11 for East Tennessee State. They will face either Long Beach State, 27-6 out of the Big West, or Western Kentucky, 9th seed out of Conference USA, 25-8 on the season for them. Middle part of the bracket now, 4th seeded NC State, 28-6 out of the ACC, will face Lafayette, 13th seed, 28-5 from the Patriot Conference. Winner of that game will get either Arizona, 22-13 out of the Pac-12, or Maryland, who went 22-12 out of the Big Ten, or Mississippi State, 26-9 out of the SEC. Go to the bottom half of the Midwest. We have 3rd seeded Missouri, 26-9 out of the SEC. They will face Indiana State, the 14th seed. Sycamores out of the Missouri Valley Conference, 22-9. Winner of that game gets either Gonzaga, who went 25-8 out of the West Coast Conference, or Manhattan, the Metro champions, 27-6 on the season for Manhattan. And 2nd seeded Stanford, the Big Tree, goes 25-8 out of the Pac-12. They get Central Michigan, 26-7 out of the MAC. They're the 15th seed. Winner of that game gets either St. John's, 25-8 out of the Big East, or West Virginia, the 10th seed out of the Big 12. 3 regions are down. We go to the West, where we get perhaps the number 1 seed overall, USC. Southern Cal goes 32-3 on the season. They're the Pac-12 champs. They are the 1 seed in the West. They will face Tarleton State at 21-11 out of the WAC. Winner of that game gets South Carolina at 23-10 out of the SEC, or Wisconsin, Big Ten team, goes 23-11, gets the 9th seed. On the other half here, we get 4th seeded Houston. Cougars went 29-6 out of the American. They will get 13th seeded Houston Baptist, who went 28-7 out of the Southland. They were the champs there. Winner of that game gets 5th seeded Pepperdine, champions of the West Coast Conference. They went 28-5. Who gets to play either Kansas at 20-11 or San Jose State at 24-8 out of the Mountain West. Bottom half of the CJBL West region gets Illinois, 3rd seed, 27-6 out of the Big Ten. Will face Denver, 23-6, winners of the Summit. On the other half, we have UNLV, 27-8 out of the Mountain West. They are the 6th seed. They will face UNC Wilmington out of the Colonial. They went 25-8 on the season. And our last 4 entrants into the CJBL tournament for 2033. We start with Duke, the Blue Devils, 2nd seeded at 25-9 out of the ACC. They will face Eastern Kentucky, 24-9 out of the Ohio Valley Conference. And our final matchup puts Villanova, 22-11 out of the Big East, against St. Louis, 23-9 out of the A10. That is your CJBL bracket for this season. We do have to scroll through a couple screens because we weren't able to get the show. First 4 out, these will be your top 8 overall seeds in the JIT. Iowa State, Georgia Tech, Tennessee Tech, and Youngstown State were the first 4 out. The next 4 out, Bradley, Purdue, Georgetown, and Drake. Okay, so I went ahead. I got rid of those slides so we can move right to the JIT. So in the East region, number 1 seed is Iowa State, 120-10 out of the Big 12. They will face Western Carolina, 20-11 out of the Southern Conference. They were a regular season champion. The 9th seed is Merrimack, 28-7 out of the Northeast Conference. They will get Auburn, 8 seed, 17-15 out of the SEC. The other half of this top half of the East, Virginia Tech is the 4 seed, 18-16. They get Cal Poly at 22-10 out of the Big West. The 12 seed is Duquesne, 21-13 out of the A10. They will face Creighton, the 5 seed, 20-16 out of the Big East. Other half of the East region, 3rd seed, Texas State, 28-5 out of the Sun Belt. They will get 14 seeded Memphis out of the American Conference, 18-14. Long Island is your 11 seed, the Long Island University out of the Northeast Conference, 24-10. They will get WAC regular season champ New Mexico State, who finished 25-7. George Washington out of the A10 is a 7 seed, 18-14. They will face Princeton out of the Ivy League, 21-8 on the season there. And 15 seeded South Carolina State out of the MEAC, 22-10, will face 2nd seeded Drake at 23-9. Let's go right to the West, where we get Georgia Tech, 19-13 there, the top seed there. They will face Vermont, 17-12 out of the America East Conference. The winner of that will face either Florida A&M, 23-10 out of the MEAC, or UC Davis, 21-11 out of the Big West Conference. On the other side, we have Monmouth, 26-9 out of the Metro. They will face Northern Iowa at 18-12 out of the Missouri Valley. Winner of that game faces either Oakland, 22-10 out of the Horizon League, or 5th seeded Oklahoma State, 17-12 out of the Big 12. Let's go bottom half of the West. We get Iona, 3rd seed, 25-7 out of the Metro. They will face Grand Canyon, who finished 21-10 out of the MAC. George Mason is the 11th seed here, 20-10 or 20-14, I should say, out of the A10. They will face Colorado, who went 18-15 out of the Pac-12. 7th seed is Loyola Chicago, 20-9 out of Missouri Valley for the Ramblers. They will face Stephen F. Austin, who went 22-12 out of the Southland. They're the 10 seed. And wrapping up the West, we have 15th seed Rutgers at 17-15 out of the Big Ten. Again, 2nd seeded Georgetown, 18-15 out of the Big East. Let's go to the Midwest, where our top seed is Tennessee Tech at 29-4 out of the Ohio Valley Conference. They were the regular season champions. They will face Arkansas Pine Bluff out of the SWAC, 21-10 on their season. They have the 16 seed. Winner of that game faces either Hawaii at 21-12 out of the Big West, or 8 seeded Southeastern Louisiana, 23-11 out of the Southland. Other half of this half. 4th seed Fresno State, 23-9 out of the Mountain West, will face 13 seed Milwaukee, 19-13 out of the Horizon. Winner of that game gets either Elon, the 12 seed out of the Colonial Conference, Colonial Athletic Association, the CA, or 5th seeded Kentucky, 21-13 out of the Southeastern Conference. Other half of the Midwest, we start with 3rd seed at San Diego State, 24-9 out of the Mountain West. They will face Georgia, 18-16 out of the SEC. They are the 14 seed. Winner of that game gets either Dixie State, 23-9 out of the WAC, or Washington State, 20-15 out of the Pac-12. Last 4 in the Midwest, 7th seed is Marshall, 21-10 out of Conference USA. They will face 10th seeded Bucknell. The Bison are 21-10 out of the Patriot Conference. They will get either Wichita State, 15th seed Shockers at 18-14 out of the American. They will face Purdue, the number 2 seed out of the Big Ten. They went 21-12, did the Boilermakers. We move on to the South, our final region of the evening, and we start with Youngstown State. Youngstown State went 25-8 out of the Horizon. They will face Tennessee, the Volunteers, a 16 seed out of the Southeastern Conference. They went 18-16 on the season. Winner of that game will get Ball State, who went 24-11 out of the MAC, or Penn. The Quakers went 22-10 in the Ivy League. On the bottom half here, we get Western Michigan. They're the 4 seed, 26-6 out of the MAC. They will face Murray State, They went 22-12 in the Ohio Valley. They're Ohio Valley Conference. They are the 13th seed. Winner of that game gets either 12th seeded Illinois State, went 18-11 out of the Missouri Valley, or Penn State, 17-14 out of the Big Ten. They are the 5 seed. Last half of the South, last eighth of this tournament. 3rd seed is Minnesota, 21-12 out of the Big Ten. They will face UMass, who went 20-13 out of the Atlantic 10. Winner of that game gets either 11th seeded Radford, who went 24-11 out of the Big South, or 6th seeded Boise State, who went 25-8 out of the Mountain West. Our final 4 teams here: 7th seed Florida Gulf Coast, Dunk City, went 26-6 out of the Atlantic Sun. They will face 10th seeded Buffalo, who went 25-8 out of the MAC. And our last 2 teams, Old Dominion at 22-12 out of Conference USA. They are the 15th seed. They will face 2nd seeded Bradley. The Braves went 22-8 out of the Missouri Valley. I hope you enjoyed this maybe drive-through version of the tournament reveal show. Again, there is a preview in the works, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you for watching, for listening, whichever you did. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I should say wonderful, whatever it is, wherever you are. I think that's what I used to say, or what I do say. I don't. Anyway, enjoy.